Hey all, thank you for checking out this pick a card reading. These readings are for those seeking insight and guidance regarding any internal or external shifts in your present moment or your near future. So this is actually navigating your shifts part 2, because your 3 reading options here were originally groups 4, 5, and 6 in a larger pick a card reading. So if you don't feel drawn to group 4, 5, or 6, you may feel, you may like 1, 2, or 3 here better. 1, 2, 3. So any of those can be found, all 3 of those can be found in Navigating Your Shifts Part 1. But if you already feel called to 4, 5, or 6, you can just scroll down to the description or the comments, either one. It should be both places, to find the timestamps and skip right along if you like. I will give you a closer look at each image though, in case that's how you'd like to choose or you think that might help you. And then I also wanted to mention that I saw not long ago in another reader's pick a card reading that she advised her viewers to use a pendulum over your screen if possible. I thought that was a neat idea. I think that's a great way to go if you were drawn to the title, but for whatever reason just can't seem to choose your reading and don't want to listen to all of them, because I know sometimes I just do that. But whether you have used a pendulum in the past or not, whether or not you're just finding out if that practice works for you, I still think that would be a good idea if you're having trouble choosing. Let me just grab a drink and we'll start. Okay. So here is pile 4, reading 4. It's the 6 of Stones, the 6 of Earth, 6 of Coins or Pentacles, that might be a little better. Here is reading 5, the 5 of Mirrors. So 55 may be particularly significant to you. That may call to you. This is the 5 of Cups, Chalices, the 5 of Water. And 4, 5, this is group 6. The 8 of Scrolls. Also the 8 of Swords, the 8 of Air. Okay, so again, the timestamps are down below in both the description and the comments if you need to skip along. And I will start group 4 now. You've also got the Star card here. And the Page of Wands, the Page of Fire. Let's see if I can fit these. Love and the Ace of Crystals. Beautiful. So shifting into a shift happening in your life related to your romantic relationship, whether you presently have one or not, is a new stable beginning, a reliable partner, a reliable beginning, something that you could build on. And with your advice being this Love card, I feel like it's saying I feel like it's giving you that advice because some of you may choose not to build on that Ace of Crystal. As readers always say, aces are just opportunities. They need to be watered. They're just seeds that need to be watered, right? So there will be, you know, a partner presenting themselves, if they haven't already, presenting this option, this opportunity, who you could build something with. You have the type of connection, the type of bond, and the type of really similarities in certain ways that would very much allow this to be a stable beginning, to be something that you could build on. And you are advised to trust in this option and you know, choose to trust. And I'm getting the feeling that some of you are not going to. Some of you are you're not ready for that after this last relationship, this last person maybe, or just because you're trying to focus on other things. Some of you are focusing on your business instead. And so, you know, the shift is still happening though. This opportunity is still coming in, this option. And I think whether you realize it or not, or whether you decide to build on it or not, that in and of itself is something new for you, group 4. And maybe that's why you don't recognize it as something that's worth your time or worth it what it is, because it doesn't look like love you've known before. It doesn't look like a partner you've had before. But this is someone you can grow with. This is somebody who would have your back in every area, always. And, you know, that's not to, you know, that's not to say there's anything wrong with those of you who are going to choose to focus on your business instead. I mean, some of you, there's nothing wrong with that choice either, right? I think, though, it is because you are being very protective of your boundaries. And I do think that, you know, even if you don't choose to build on this, even if you don't choose to see where this new opportunity and love takes you, I still, you know, I think you should investigate the fact that you may be making that choice out of fear. No, they don't have the same energy as the people that you normally date or the people that you normally embark on romances with. But if anything, that's because they fit you better. And you're sort of using that to help you choose. Some of you are going to sort of use that to help you choose a different path, to help you choose to maybe not even really fully let yourself see the potential. And you may say things like, you know, you just don't have time or energy to put the work in right now, you know. So all of that is going to help you brush something aside when that really could be a good opportunity. And I'm not trying to push you to take the opportunity. If you don't want it, you don't want it. But I do think the reading is trying to say, still investigate how you're being very protective of your boundaries, and you don't want to make these decisions out of fear. You may make the same decision, you know, out of with different motivations, but you don't want to be making decisions out of fear, right? Because you are, it looks like you're going to continue to be really, in the near future, really protective of your boundaries with everybody, not just your romantic relationships, but friends, family, everybody around you. Some of you who are some of you who also have work projects, business opportunities that are a main focus in your life as well. Like I said, maybe for some of you, even so much so that it's taking the place of a relationship. That's sort of, that's where you're channeling all of your energy that you would channel into a partner. Have a big dream and a big wish concerning that project, concerning that that work, while others are actually manifesting that opportunity with a partner who matches you. And for some of you, it's both. You've got that business wish and you've got that love wish. That's not uncommon, right? As far as having your boundaries up with people, especially when it comes to relationships outside of that romantic relationship, because like I said, some of you have manifested exactly what you wanted in terms of love, and for some of you it is a Gemini specifically, but for a few, well, when it comes to your friends, your family, deciding who you can trust, who you can let in, we have the Justice card as advice on that. Allow the precise and impartial truth to cut away the untrue. I think what you're on the road for here with having your boundaries, trying to protect probably this wish that you have in mind, for whether it's for love or for, like I said, business projects, work opportunities. I think for a lot of you, that's exactly what you're trying to protect. You're not really wanting to share that wish because it means so much, and you really want to see it come to fruition. And so you're channeling so much time and energy into making that come true, whatever effort you need to put in. You just, that's something else, that another reason that you really don't want to open up and share that. You're afraid that it's not going to happen. If I think you have a lot of hope that it's going to happen now, but you're afraid that if you opened up, you could allow someone to affect it, to influence, to either to take too much of your energy, or to maybe, for a lot of you, to have a negative opinion about it. You're afraid to share it with people who, don't have the same faith or belief in that dream coming true as you do. You don't want someone to talk you out of it. You aren't you think it's going to happen now, as long as you keep it protected, right? You don't want to show these parts of yourself and have someone else put negative thoughts in your mind. But what you're on a path to have happen, group 4, is some collateral damage, is what I'm seeing with this Justice card here, where you may actually cut out and or keep out people who would actually add to the faith and belief of this project, and who you could open up to and feel close with. You just may not be taking any chances with that. Maybe it's like a really good idea or something that this wish is based around, and some of you are literally afraid to have someone else steal. That's coming through. I mean, this all looks lovely. I just am getting an energy of protecting and concealing to the point of your own detriment with this with the 4 here. Not always, but with this 4 here, I am. Not to mention you did choose group 4. But which is also, you know, speaking of stability as well. And that's what you're afraid to lose. You have a very stable mindset wrapped around the idea that you are capable of bringing this wish of yours to life. And I do get the feeling that a wish is being granted. And I also get the feeling of it being the dawn after like your darkest night. That sort of feeling that the star, you know, gives us, that energy that the star always carries with it, but sometimes that is the message coming from it for me. A lot of you too with the star card here, I think are starting to research your birth charts, getting interested in your using astrology even more so in a deeper way for your own self-investigation and subsequent self-development. And that's helping you have a lot of empathy for yourself, why these types of dreams haven't come to pass yet, helping you to see how it's a path, helping you to understand that other things that have happened leading up to this had to happen before you could get to this point, right? And when it, you know, I wrote with the 6 of Stones here and this particular depiction with the Tree of Life, you know, this is also a message of giving and receiving with grace, which is intertwined with that message of empathy, because as you have empathy for yourself, you give that to yourself, you receive that for and from yourself. That also allows you to have empathy for others at a deeper level, the more you have for yourself, right? This is all really a message of you shifting into a deeper level of self-acceptance. And that creating harmony in your world. Meaning that as long as in your mind, in your mental realm, these wishes and these dreams, or this one in particular wish and dream that we're talking about, as long as in your mind, in your mental realm, it's possible, you believe in it, it's happening, you don't really need to share it with anyone else. You don't really need to risk that stability, because that leads you on a direct path to that wish coming true. The thing is, though, yes, just believing in it, just knowing that you have the power to create this, and just knowing that, you know, anytime that the project starts to lack energy, you can always rejuvenate it. It's something you've created. It's something that's coming from you, and you know that the manifestation of it is all, at least right now, I think most of you have a hold of the idea that the manifestation on it is really all based on your belief in yourself, your faith in yourself. At the same time, what also equally brings it to life is you know, showing enthusiasm in it, having the courage to speak out about it. And I don't think you have to share it with everyone if you're not ready, but I do think that you need to find someone that you can verbalize this message of creativity and passion and excitement and enthusiasm to. You don't actually have to show them whatever the work is itself, but just to speak out courageously and passionately about this thing that you have so much belief in, to share that excitement really, you know, also contributes to bringing that to life. There's different levels to it, right? At first, it can just be a belief in your mind that this is going to happen. But after a while of keeping that secret to yourself, it starts to look like and feel like you're doing that because, as I said earlier, you're afraid that someone could hurt it. Someone could take it away from you. So the next level of continuing to show belief in it is then having so much belief in it and so much courage because you're so sure it's going to happen, that you can share it. You can let it out too. That's what's advised here, is to share that message. Physically, as your mental world shifts into that belief where you're certain that your wish is going to come true, you're certain it's possible, you're certain you're capable of it, you see clearly that there's no reason that you can't choose the path you want to walk. As that happens in your mental world, because of this new empathy, this new level of this new depth of empathy you found for yourself, physically, in your outer world, it will become apparent that the first step has already been taken. And for some of you, that's exactly what we're talking about. Wrapping your mind around it mentally was your first step. For others of you, I see you actually needing to relocate to make this come true. Taking off, going on a journey. And maybe that's where some of this collateral damage we were talking about comes in as well. You're just sort of leaving people behind who, you're not so sure are shady characters that deserve to be cut out, but you also can't take them with you, and you're going on this journey. And in that case, if you're like physically relocating to bring this project, this dream, into reality, to life, then, as I said, you need to find someone you can share this passion with, someone you can as your outlet, to where you can let it out. Hopefully more than just one person, but I see that so many of you are wanting to keep so much of yourself to yourself at this time, and I can only imagine that's intimately intertwined with this wish in your mind. Springing from your heart and swirling around your mind, right? You have 3 6s. I'm not sure if I pointed out 2 earlier. You actually have 6, 6, 6. You have to give of yourself. You have to give of yourself to receive the gift that's trying to come in, the gift of this wish. Are you gracefully giving and gracefully receiving? Because it has to flow in a cycle like that. Group 4. That's the message that's overwhelmingly, most powerfully really coming through now that I've walked through each one of the cards and finally found us here at the third 6, 6, 6, 6. That may be particularly significant for you. And for me, it's normally speaking of a balance that wants to happen, and it looks like that it is coming in, but this restriction is the only thing that can stop that flow that I see, right? For a lot of you, you feel, whether you have ever articulated it quite this way for yourself or not, you feel that this work that you're doing, this project, this work, a lot of you, it's an artistic work from the way it's feeling and the way that the conversation is going. But you feel like this is your heart, like this is you holding your heart out to the world. If you show this, if you expose this, if you tell this, if you put this wish out there, if you put this work out there and say, this is what I want to be good at, to do well at, this is what I want to succeed in, this is what I hope you like, this is me, this is raw, this is from my heart, this is from my mind, this is what I've been sitting on, this is what I've been working on, This is what I feel passionate about. If you hand this out there, you feel like it's your heart. Like you're just putting your heart out there, and you know, part of you feels like, how can I do that? Some part of you on some level, some restriction is coming in here in your relationships, not romantic necessarily, but friends, family members, other people around you. There's this feeling of, how can I share this? What if they don't like it? What if they have something nasty or negative to say, like we talked about earlier? That's them dissing my heart. You know, how can I take it? And that is just an artist's work. And in some way, we're all creating some type of art, especially if it's something that you're passionate about, that you want others to receive well in some way. And that's just the name of the game. That's just being human. That's just being authentic in the world. And that's the type of gift that you have to give the world in order to receive this type of gift that you are looking to receive back, that is trying to come in, that is this major shift that's really in your own mind. Yes, that's what's creating your reality. But again, we ask, how strong is that faith, and how strong is that belief in your ability to manifest, in the fact that this wish can and will come true for you? All you have to do is choose to walk the path and choose to, you know, continue to maintain that belief in yourself. How strong is it? Is it strong enough to share? Because that, again, that's the name of the game. Not to demean it and make it a game, but that's the level at which you have to give. That's the depth of it. That's why you stand to receive your heart's desire. That's why you're in a position to receive what you're wishing for, your dream come true, because what you're giving to get it is, your heart and soul out there. Here, take a look. What do you think? So that's what we're talking about here, this giving and receiving. And if you're in that flow state of gracefully giving and gracefully receiving, and being willing to give at that level, being willing, yes, to be hurt, to be, I don't want to say torn down. I don't think it, will take you down to that level because you believe in yourself that much, but, basically like just, bothered enough that it messes you up for a minute, and you have to shake it off. That is what you have to be willing to do. It will hurt. Those moments will happen, depending on what you're doing. For some of you, often it will happen a lot, and that faith and that belief has to be strong enough. And what this is here is the secret of renovation, being able to rejuvenate yourself. Most importantly, when everybody else disses the part of your heart and soul that you decide to share, when no one else understands, when no one else sees the vision or believes in it, that's when it's most important. And that's what that belief and faith building in your own mind builds for you. That's the kind of particular type of strength that it builds for you. The ability to find again, why did you do this, and why did you believe in it, and how do we get started again, even with all of the dismissals maybe from other people, misunderstandings, where other people, like I said, just don't see the vision, don't see the dream. And we'll wrap it up by bringing it back to center here, that all definitely stems from an empathy that's growing for yourself. Because I think a lot of you were looking back at why this dream hadn't manifested, or other dreams hadn't manifested before, and that's how you're finding the fact, on some level, conscious or unconscious, that's how you're finding the fact that it was your own doubt in yourself. A lot of other people may have doubted it. A lot of other factors may have contributed, but the one that mattered, the only one that ever mattered, was you, believing in it yourself, and then being caused to doubt it, or allowing yourself to take other people's doubt and make it your own. Statistics doubt and make it your own, right? So you're feeling this empathy for that those versions of yourself that didn't, you know, didn't complete something when you didn't make a dream come true in the past, or didn't complete something when you had tried to. You're seeing, like, you know, I get it. I see what you fell victim to. I see how you doubted yourself because of these other things, and no more. We're done with that. So be done with that. Because being restricted and unwilling to share is just another, at the next level, it's just another way of, you know, doubting yourself a little, showing that you're not completely convinced that it's going to come true no matter what anybody thinks. You're not completely convinced of that yet if you're not willing to share it with some people. And again, I'm not pushing to say you have to right now share it with everyone, but there's got to be at least someone or someone's. And maybe there are people in this new location. For those of you who are actually relocating, maybe they're people, they're not in your surroundings now. They're not in your friend group now. Maybe they're people that you will get to when you get to the new place that you should be in, to really push this along in your physical world, since the battle is conquered in your mental world. And I think we said this earlier too, but also have empathy for yourself. It's not just that you can see why you made the mistakes, if you're looking at them like that, when you didn't make the dream come true in the past, or different dreams come true in the past, but it's also that, like I said, you're seeing that it wasn't meant to come true then. For you to be on this path now, meeting these people now, meeting this person now, this new love. If you, like I said, whether or not you allow it to build, whether or not you choose to build on it, but for you to be in this spot where you're meeting these energies that can really love you now and really encourage you now, and to be doing what you're doing exactly how you are now, it was meant to fall out this way. I think that's another way that you're finding empathy for that past version of yourself. So we will leave it at that. Group 4, thank you for checking the reading out again. And if you need further clarification on these things, or would like a personal private reading with me, just scroll down to the description, check out the different service options, and all of your links happen to be there too, plus my email address. And thank you for liking and subscribing and letting me know how the reading resonated. If it did, I love to hear. And thank you for all other contributions to Lunatics Tarot. Welcome, Lunatics. I hope you all make wise choices for yourself moving forward. Group 5. 5 of Mirrors. Eight of Swords. Ace of Swords. This is a lot about needing to find forgiveness for yourself, I think, is what we're seeing already. Yeah, I think I flipped these around. Yeah. King of Crystals, 7 of Feathers. Let's just get them all out. King of Wands. Strength is reversed here. You've got the 2 of Earth reversed and the Mother card reversed. Okay, so I do feel a strong sense of needing to find forgiveness for self, but also mercy and compassion for those who have hurt you as well, outside of yourself, others as well. A shift that's coming, externally within relationships around you is you learning firsthand, you literally realizing, is what I mean to say, compassion for those who have harmed you, because I think some of you are looking at finding yourself in a similar position. Being faced with a similar type of choice, being faced with choosing in a way that leaves you hurting someone the way you've been hurt, and then you feel some compassion for and real forgiveness for that person who has harmed you. Now it's going to be different for everyone how that plays out exactly, but one scenario that's coming through is there's commitment coming into your romantic relationship, and at the same time that commitment looks like it involves a face-off between that partner for you and someone who you're not actually with these kings staring each other down here. And that's not to speak necessarily to masculine or feminine specifically. Masculine sides, the assertive sides of two individuals being attracted to one another. And there's even advice to I think for a lot of you, the advice is to take into consideration, that you don't want to end up sneaking around on someone. So to think before you actually make this commitment. It's, it feels, it looks, it seems very much like a lesson coming in the form of these opportunities, one right after the other one. And likely that is specifically how this breaks down for some of you, that you've been hurt before, and now in a similar circumstance, and now you find forgiveness on some level for both yourself and the other person, because you see the type of choice they were faced with, and you might fall into the same trap or one that looks similar. So if there's any resistance from the other person to solidify this commitment, you're wanting commitment and you find an opportunity for it, but if the other person is resisting at all, or if some part of you is resisting at all, don't force it, don't push it, right? The reading would say, is advising, right? Because here's the commitment I see, coming in, and really, like I said, it feels like in order to show you this lesson, show you this perspective, and show you this lesson, I feel like you're not going to be able to or want to control yourself with this other person who you're not in a relationship with. So this one is, I think in both of these readings now, we've kind of started from the outside in, looking at the external things that are going on with your relationship, and then moved in. It's just how it happened, and then moved into what's going on in your heart and your mind. And how that's manifesting in your personal physical world. you're I think you are still currently in need of that forgiveness, that this is really all circling around. And something about what happened that left you not feeling good enough, that left you feeling, that puts you in a state of mourning, that leaves you in a place where you're looking for this forgiveness for yourself and others on a conscious or unconscious level, maybe an unconscious level even, or your heart really, it's really your heart is searching for that forgiveness. Or needing it, right? Something about it made you feel impure. And that's what I see you staring at. Forgiving yourself for letting that happen to you, and forgiving, just not being able to find it. Or, it's just taking time. It's just taking time, is what I mean to say. And some have been searching longer than others. Some, and like I said, some are conscious of it. Those of you that are, burying it really deep and just refusing to deal with it and don't, those are the ones that are really in danger of falling into the same trap that, to force you to see the other side. So, okay. Yeah, and I see preparation and resourcefulness here. I think there are other messages here as well. This one's just coming through so strong. There's, as advice, I feel is again advising you, telling you that you can get ahead of this. And I really see that it's in a stage of actually making the commitment, because in your personal physical world, you have way too many commitments going on as a result of and happening at the same time as and surrounding these energy shifts that you clearly see the evidence of in, your again, in your heart space, in your mind, and in your relationships, in your external world. You're overloaded with commitments, like unable to focus, overloaded with commitments. And this really is pointing to that foresight for me. And it's also, there's also a message here preparation, resourcefulness, 7 of feathers, but with this cheetah here, there's also a message here of having a swift response. We can prepare for so much, right? And then we have to just be ready to respond quickly sometimes. And if you do make a commitment, some of you, you aren't interested in the commitment, that the opportunity that comes in. You're just vibrating, vibrating at a frequency, or you're attracting that because you want that kind of commitment. You're ready to to commit to someone, you know, you're ready to give what you want to get. And so you're attracting more than one opportunity. And some of you aren't interested in any, but this one that I think is coming in like your social circles, like your close social circles, your coworkers who are friends, your friend circles. Or, you know, and that's not to say that it couldn't be someone who starts as an acquaintance or even less, but quickly, you know, you feel an energy, a vibe where you quickly want to make them part of, you know, a close circle. And some part of you maybe this part of you that, you know, is conscious of the fact that you have way too many commitments. You're not sure how much time you have to give to somebody. You're drawn to them. You feel passionate about them, but some part of you may may feel like that's unproductive of you. Like if you engage too much time or energy in a relationship right now while you have so many other commitments, or not fair of you even, because, you know, you are so attracted to them. You see the potential for more than just passion, for again, commitment, and also like you see the type of partner that you want in long term. You can't help it, you know, it flashes in front of your face. You know what qualities you're looking for. There's also somebody that you're mothering, I think, that you don't need to be, I have to say. I don't think it's this person, but someone, because it seems like that for some of you is what the advice is. That's something that you could drop. You have so many commitments that you're not sure if you need to resist something you're really attracted to. For those of you who are in a commitment, you know, I still think the message here is that, you know, you shouldn't resist it when you feel like you should. When you feel like you should resist, it's telling you not to. So if you are in a commitment, that means one of two things. We're seeing that you are on the table here, but this hasn't happened in real time yet. So you have the chance, the opportunity, like I said, to get ahead of it and not actually enter it. Like not actually speak the words, not actually sign the contract, so to speak. You know, be honest that there's some resistance in your heart. You're not sure yet. Or if the ink is dry, quote unquote, then the other option is, you know, you speak up and be honest with them that you think you all acted too quick, or you know, you choose your own words, live your own life, right? But otherwise, you're just going to add something else to the list of things that your heart is needing to find forgiveness for itself, right? And the fact that this is a swift response to this commitment too, there's so many messages here. I don't mean to get confusing, but if it's you that's being tempted by, offered, and seduced, talked into, persuaded in some way into a commitment that maybe does look good on paper, maybe, you know, it fills a void that you've been missing, kind of covers up this need your heart has for forgiveness and offers it to you in some way, a little bit, but doesn't really set you on fire the way I think this other person likely will. If it's you that's being persuaded into that, this quick response is making me think, for some of you, you're going to be caught off guard. And that may be why you speak too soon or agree to something. You're faced with a moment where you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. You don't know what to say. you hate to let them down. And is that then maybe the person that you're mothering to some extent? You babying them. Let them grow. Be a grown-up and let them be a grown-up. Let them evolve. It's like you think they're too fragile. Maybe that's what you're staying trapped in your mind about too. For others of you, if there's not someone else coming in, distracting you from your original commitment, or just someone who wants a commitment with you, you can keep it in that space, is what I keep getting. I don't mean to take it such a negative place at all, but I keep getting the message coming through that you can keep it in that place of like, well, they really want a commitment with them and I really like them, but I can't make them any promises. And it's like, I don't mean, like, you shouldn't keep someone on a string either. Like, don't keep them around, you know, just to have them either. I'm not advising that. I'm not condoning that at all, is all I want to say. I definitely wouldn't advise that. Again, adding to the list of things that you feel like you have to forgive yourself for, right? But I just feel like, you know, that's just it's not a lie for you to say that, you know, you are really busy. And that is part of the confusion and part of why you're not sure. Well, whoever it is, it could be this person, I don't know, but whoever it is, I mean, it's going to be different for each of you is what I mean to say. Whoever it is that you're babying, you really don't have time. And that's not me saying, that's also not me saying, you know, that you don't have time for your kids. Unless that's really happening, unless you're so overwhelmed that you find like, how is the thing that's getting cut is I don't have time for my children. If that's happening, then this is definitely advising you to take a look at that first and foremost. Unless it's, you know, your grown-ass adult child who, you know, needs them to stop babying you and you're just enabling them. That's something that's happening here. If you have enough of your own going on and then you're like almost enabling someone else. So to some of you it is to the extreme of enabling someone else. And that's taking a bunch of time. You just don't have it all. But I started to say that for those of you that someone else, you know, that you make a commitment and you're happy in this commitment opportunity. Like I said, you attract exactly the vibe that you're emitting and you get the commitment you want and you have distractions come in, but it's not actually another person, then it's other passions of yours, something that you're just as passionate about, your family, you're maybe owning your own business, something that could be your baby in some sense. Is it your baby? Is it your baby? Is it your project that's your baby? Something that you're equally as passionate about, you know, that has your spirit wrapped up with it. And I mean, look at this. In your mental world, the reason that you're it has to be directly connected here, that the reason you're so unable to see the truth. What you have the truth you obviously have yourself blind to. I mean, this is the shift. The shift itself in your mind, or how your shifts right now are playing out in your mind, right? How it's affecting you mentally is what we mean to say here. Is leaving you blind, and you're advised to see the truth. I mean, it's simple, because only you can allow yourself. When you're the one who's keeping yourself from seeing it, that's the advice. See it. Stop. Look. And I mean, it has to be directly connected to this feeling here of you being imbalanced because you're overwhelmed, because you have too much on your plate, like I said from the beginning, because there are too many commitments here. And if you yourself are a mother, then be advised, be aware that if you just have too many commitments like that, and that you absolutely need to drop the one that doesn't belong to you. You absolutely need to drop, prioritize and drop the one that's at the bottom of the list, whatever that means, because this could be you being physically ill, it manifesting into physical illness. And if it's just, other passions, not like another lover coming into your social circle, but just other passions, defining and maybe creating new interpersonal relationships for you. Those aren't the commitments to cut. According to this, you're advised that those aren't the ones you want to cut. And in that case, the preparedness we see here, isn't about, making sure you don't make a commitment so that you don't sneak around. Like I said, some of you just have other passions coming in, not another option of a lover or a different commitment. But you just want to be prepared before you get ill, or before you're so overwhelmed that something has to be dropped, right? You can just, again, maybe just get ahead of that. Some of you can, some of you can't. It's different, but all of that doesn't sound like it leaves much time for this work on finding this forgiveness. Let me sit with it for just a second. You have so much activity going on around you, but in your mind you feel isolated. It's like I don't know if you maybe need to talk to somebody about it, and I don't know, whomever you trust, whomever you can, someone who can help you shift your perspective if a reading like this isn't enough. Somebody who can help you shift your perspective. Or just to be a backboard for you, just allow you to, speak your truth out loud to someone, at least someone. And I mean, in order to forgive yourself, some of you this is relevant, some of you it isn't. In order to forgive yourself for whatever role you played in this wound from your past, it's just I'm not sure the metaphor I want. It's like a scar on your heart, yeah. But for you, it's like I'm not sure it's even reached. For some of you, maybe you would describe it that way. For some of you, it's like it's not even healed up in any sense of the word. It seems it's just like a weepy wound still. For some of you, it's relevant to say that in order to find that forgiveness for yourself, you would have to, of course, own your role. What was your role? How did you contribute to the position that you found yourself in? Does it behoove you to see it from the perspective of, perhaps I created these lessons for myself? Maybe I chose them before incarnating here. Maybe I unconsciously manifested them for myself. Does it, you know, and I'm asking you, does it behoove you to entertain that perspective, at least remind yourself in a real way, saying it out loud, writing it down, something that you don't know for sure that that's not true, right? I'm sure that's the case for most of you. You don't know for sure that that's not true. At least that, you know, for others of you, you know what you don't want to face, that you contributed to the situation in some way. You know, obviously we could get more specific with a, you know, personal reading or something, but you know the specifics, the details. I'm not just saying this either, but I feel like I really do get the feeling that if there is any sneaking around, if there is, the Seven of Feathers, Seven of Swords does not always mean that. It's noted here as, again, preparation and resourcefulness. But I see it, you know, a cheetah, right? So I'm just, if it is for some, it isn't for others. If there is any sort of sneakiness, either in trying to rope someone into a commitment, or even in just pretending to be ready for one when you're not really sure you want it, or in going behind somebody's back once you've made it in any way, I truly get the feeling that it's going to be revealed. It's going to be revealed. So I just, you know, a word to the wise, right? There's also this feeling of, from this King of Crystals, what is it noted as? Courage and commitment. Not just commitment, but courage. All this assertive masculine energy is making me think, you know, some of you may just be being advised to be courageous and be assertive, and if you know, you see the commitment you want, ask for it. They may not be ready. They may not be in the same place. You can feel the attraction. You can feel the tension. You can feel mutual interest. Maybe they're involved with someone, right? You know, it could be that. That could be the sneakiness too. So a lot of different ways this could go. But you catch the drift. But that could be part of the sneakiness as well. Maybe that's with some, you know, maybe. Again, then in which case preparation is advised, and also, you know, being ready to, you know, you're going to be caught off guard, and I think it's going to be revealed. That might be at the point at which you're caught off guard by it too, is when it's revealed. Careful. I mean, people hit people over stuff like that is what's going through my mind. That's what I'm seeing. I'm actually, in my mind, I didn't want to say it, but in my mind, I am seeing a picture of a cat fight. A cat fight where they're swinging with their masculine sides, you know. I'm not saying, you know, that men are always stronger, but, you know, I'm just usually. In any case, oftentimes, I can't help it. That's just what goes through my mind. In any case, but there's also a feeling here with this King of Crystals of like the Midas touch, which could go in either direction as well, in a good way or a bad way. well, when I say a bad way, I mean in the way of getting a commitment that you think you want and realizing it's not what you wanted. But also, really, there's just this message of, like, you know, like I said, you're vibrating at a frequency where you're going to be attracting that type of commitment. So, but which one do you want it with, if you want one? Which one do you want it with, and commit to making that request. And definitely don't keep someone on a string because you're not sure if that request is gonna, right? I don't think that's for many people. That's really specific, but it came through, so I'm gonna say it. That's just terrible. You know, definitely don't do that. But some, you know, a lot of you that, like I said, you just have so much going on. You have so much going on within you that needs addressed. You feel isolated in your mind. So are you really, you know... That's a reason that this can play out, you know, and nobody's judging you, and nobody's crucifying you or anything. Like I said, for a lot of you, this will be about learning a lesson where you see from the perspective of someone who hurt you in the past. And this it's like, to some extent, if you are considering a commitment or already in one with someone, it's like, to some extent, this person knows that you feel alone and they're trying to be there for you. And at the same time, that feeling of isolation is what could lead to you sneaking around and not resisting a desire with someone that you feel really passionate about who comes in. Again, that's for some, it's not for others, but if that's the case, that's exactly what can lead to that. You know, you say you're with someone, if you did, and then, but you don't really feel that way. Like, in your mind and in your heart, you're not really feeling that way. And you know, it's sometimes it can be hard to know if we're ready for a commitment. Like I said earlier, it can feel like the thing to fill a void, a hole, like, to make you feel better. That's why you have to let yourself see the truth. And for some of you, there's this another external question, really. That would be important if you internalized it and looked at it honestly, if you can. If you're not a parent, but this person that you feel passionately about is a father, what commitments are too much? Or are you not ready for? Do you need to consider the fact that you're not ready to be a mother? Is that relevant? I'm asking, not saying, you know, because I'm saying it like that because for some of you it will be, for others that's not the case, right? But that's here. In any case, there's definitely a confident leader energy coming into your, as I said, close social circle. For some of you, that's you. Which is just incredible, considering that you actually feel overwhelmed to the point of almost ill, isolated, and in mourning. No wonder you would search for some release of energy if you were this confident leader in your social circle, all the while feeling that inside. Some of you are being guilted. Some of you feel like you're like on the edge of sensing that you're being guilted. You're being manipulated. Like I said earlier, I said persuaded earlier, like just kind of persuaded into a commitment. I mean, that's subtle manipulation. Could be, Can be. Some of you, I want to say quickly, are faced with this, with the Mother card in reverse here, a lack of individualization. Could that be happening to your own children, or is that something that that's wanting to happen for you? It's like you have so many options to choose from as far as what to put your energy and time into, or at least two that are pulling you equally in opposite directions. And what it's resulting in is you allowing those choices to belong to someone else. And so a lot of you are feeling guilted or manipulated on some level, on some, to some degree. But you're allowing your choices to be made by someone else. You're almost handing them to someone else because you can't make it. You want someone else to decide for you. You're letting that happen. I see that as well. Again, this all comes back to you allowing yourself to see these truths. Some, again, and I think, however this applies, I think for a lot of you, for some of you, for maybe a lot of you, it's the reason you don't want to see the truth is because it means cutting somebody out of your life. And when you do, you are going to break them open in a very similar fashion to the way someone broke you open by letting you go or rejecting you in some way, right? And then that's gonna break you in a different way again. But it's also gonna allow you to heal, to see that truth. From the other perspective, from the other person's side. And for some of you, what's happening, the major shift that's happening in your heart that's rippling out and affecting all these areas that we're talking about is that you're now choosing forgiveness. for a lot of you, for most of you, and we all hold on to grudges and things for a time. Many people at some point in their life. And I think, for a lot of you, up until this shift occurs, you just weren't wanting to enter that space of understanding, really, because then that, leads to forgiving that person, and they hurt you, they wronged you, and you've just been resisting that and just not not wanting to enter that space of forgiveness for them. Just kind of had your back up about it, if you will. You're a bleep and you'll always be a bleep you, right? Just so you can get creative a little bit. But that's the major shift that's happening in your heart, is that you're ready to choose forgiveness. Maybe it's just on an unconscious level. But in order to see, if you've got yourself trapped, right? In order to see your truth, you first have to see your trap, right? You take that blindfold off, the first thing you're going to see is the swords around you before you, then find your truth. Or you're first going to realize that you are blindfolded, right? You have to see the trap itself before you can see the truth outside of it. So that's, and that's how it's rippling out into your mental world. And 55, may be particularly significant for you all. This is about finding clarity through a really difficult shift. It feels like a difficult shift for you. Which is why you're leaning on or into this commitment here. And the question isn't whether or not this is a good match. And the question, if there's someone else that you're interested in your social circle, the question isn't, or if that's the same person, the question isn't whether or not this is a passionate attraction. And the question isn't, again, whether this is a good match. The question is, are you ready in the right head or heart space right now for any of that? Do you have time for any of that? That's the only question. And also the question isn't, isn't it beautiful to resonate at the frequency where you're attracting the kind of commitment that you ultimately want? Absolutely. And I'm so happy for those of you who long for that and call for that and vibe with that and then get what you need. And it actually does. I think that case is going to be rarer than the others, but it actually does just support you and hold you through this transition. And that's why you attracted him or her, because you needed them. And then there they were, and they hold you down through this, and they, or they're waiting thereafter or whatever, right? I'm so happy for those of you that that's the way it plays out. It's just that the other messages came through stronger, so I had to elaborate on that one more, I feel. Definitely compassion, clarity, change. I mean, all of these readings are about shifts and then the changes in your life internally and externally as a result, but how those energy shifts play out for you. But so they're all about change, essentially. It could be navigating your changes, but with 55, sort of topping off the reading, I get the feeling that this, yeah, definitely for you, these are changes that affect the rest of your life. I mean, and it can be in the other readings that they are for those as well, yeah. At least in some small way, everything ripple effects, right? This reading is so long now. I've just wanted to get more and more out of it, but I think we get the gist here. So with that, we will leave it there. Good luck to you, group 5. Hope you make wise choices for yourselves moving forward. I hope none of this, makes you feel like anything is too determined, that it's, out of your hands, out of your control. It's not. It's your choice. It's up to you always. If you do need further clarification on any of this, just check out the description of the video. You can find all my services as well as links and my email there. And thank you so much for liking and subscribing and letting me know how the reading resonated with you. If it did, if you care to share, I'd love to hear it. Thank you so much for all other contributions to Lunatics Tarot as well. Welcome, Lunatics, and take really good care. Okay. That was group 5. Skipping right along to group 6. So this is already almost an hour and a half. Okay, sorry, group 6. Group 6. 8 of Scrolls, the 8 of Swords. Lost in thought, trapped by choices. Trapped by choices of different paths, different truths. Some of you are just, you're trying to figure out who you want to be, who you think you are. Feel like you're going crazy because it changes before you can even get a hold of it, and you're not. You're just, the human condition is just maddening. What's happening, and what's happening as a result is, the world wants to meet you. The future, your future self, your future wants to meet you. And you're letting other people make your choices because there are so many different truths for you to choose from. You feel trapped by these options, these paths, these versions of yourself that you might be, these different truths that you might embrace. And this message here is literally shouting, just stop worrying. Like there's nothing to... There's nothing to try to escape. It's like you're creating these other... You're creating these other paths swirling around the one that you truly want to walk. And just because you want to, not for any other reason, not because it makes anyone else happy, not because it gives you anything in particular besides a feeling of authenticity and glee. You're just not for any other reason besides just that you want to. The strongest part of you is pulling you there. And that's it. And you're just creating all these other options around the one that you just want to walk right now. And they're illusions that are self-serving in a way. Because you think it's self-serving, and I think it's on an unconscious level that you're doing that, but you're doing that so that you don't have to. Well, you're using the illusions to escape. The truth that you just want. And there's nothing to escape. Why would you? There's nothing to worry about. There's nothing to escape. There is clearly something here that needs reframed. Okay, so yeah, that truth, whatever that one is that you just want to be, you just want to walk, you just want to embrace, you just want to do, it must not be acceptable to some part of you. Your parents, your friends, your society, your culture, your lover, maybe your lover, because looks like you are getting over a pain in your romantic sector, your romantic life. So maybe, it looks like you're finally releasing, finally recovering, still going through it though. I think you're to the stage where you know that the only way out is through, but you are still mending. So maybe that person's opinion, maybe everybody else's opinion, there's something about it that's unacceptable to others and yourself. That you've on, again, could be on an unconscious level, but somewhere you've internalized someone else's objections to just who you are. And I think a lot of you are overthinking it. You're so determined to find and get a hold of what that truth is that you're searching from it. You're searching for it like it's not within you. It's not something that you need to chase and find and tackle. And the riddle there, is that the trick there, the riddle or trick there is that it's not, something for you to really solve like a puzzle. It's just letting it be, just relaxing and letting it be. I think because you're determined to get a hold of this truth, but by letting your conscious mind be in charge of the search instead of your heart, you're giving it a chance to, you're giving your mind a chance to play tricks on itself, really. And so I can feel some of you getting really frustrated, like you didn't need, you didn't need the message to be like, well, you've trapped yourself in this maze, but that's just what it is. And so I think the way to make it out of that maze that you're mentally wrapped up with is to open up to someone else, at least someone you love, someone you trust, someone who you admire, someone who you, I want to say they're the picture of mental health as far as your memories are concerned about this person, right? Probably someone who will just listen, honestly. Probably someone who will offer you love in the form of just listening. But you have to open up. You have to share with at least someone who can offer you a different perspective, who can say, well, from the outside in, it's obvious. Something. And it's not uncommon or it's completely understandable that if you're in this place in your romantic life, if you're finally shifting into accepting that the only way out is through, and you're starting to recover, you were probably with this person for a significant amount of time, or they were really significant to you in your life. You had deep feelings for them, that you're recovering from. And it's completely common, honestly, is what I want to say, that, you know, you're searching for who you are after that. Who was I before that? Who am I without them? Some of you. Okay, let me see. Yeah, again, the message coming through of who is determining your present moment. Like I said, your future wants to meet you, but all your decisions at present are being made by other people while you try to figure out what your truth is. You're trying on a bunch of different ones, maybe, allowing, even if it's inadvertently, ending up allowing other people to make choices for you in the meantime. But I mean, I don't mean to be hard on you, because a lot of you, you know, you're just in this time of renewing, of self-care. But so it can almost feel like relaxing to leave major choices up to other people. And it's also just what you're doing currently. So then you're telling yourself that you're conscious of it. That's just currently, that's just right now. But that's not actually, if you're suppressing parts of your truth and your authenticity, that's what all the healing's ultimately all about. So there's no way that that can be anything but counterintuitive or counterproductive to the cause of healing you. That just seems to be the way that it is. Certainly the message that's coming through here. You know, I think somebody may have mentally, emotionally manipulated you here in the past. I mean, some of you are just heartbroken, but in some respect, they left you at least needing to ask the question, what is honest affection? Some of you have been doing that work, and you have asked yourself that question. What is honest affection? Did they really show me honest affection? At what point did I know it wasn't honest affection? Why didn't I check out? Why do I accept that? And you need time to see that, all of that clearly. You need time and space between you and that event to see clearly, to get a different perspective, a clearer perspective. So, you know, you're going to be wary of anybody who tries to get close to you. You're going to be afraid to get close for a time at this that's coming through now as well. There's still some, I think, some emotional confusion here, or at least there was. And whatever the answer to that question is, what is honest affection? Whether you've been asking it, you've been answering it or not, whatever that answer is to you, that's what this time of self-care should be about. Show that type of love to yourself. Whatever you think honest affection is. And suppressing any part of your truth is not what you want from a partner, and not the way you want to love yourself. And you're going to realize really quickly that that actually is part of your integrity. Being authentic. It's brave. Yes, it's courageous, and it's virtuous. It's honest, and it's real. part of your integrity. You know, it's not, you know, that's what you're compromising if you know, while you refuse to meet your future and allow other people to make your choices. That's ultimately, you know, and it's not, I think it's just a shift that's happening. I think you're shifting into seeing and understanding that, and it's just going to naturally happen that you see that you're not just turning down your future, you're not just opting out of it. It's not just something that you're then missing out on or choosing a different road. It's compromising your very integrity. It may be scary. Some of you are allowing others to dominate in your life in some ways because in order to not, it's going to mean standing alone. Well, yeah, I mean, being the ruler of anything and even and especially your own life, it does mean standing alone in a lot of areas, in a lot of ways, right? In a very real way, and you don't want to learn this the hard way, right? In a very real way, some of you, if you are allowing others to choose your truth at present and make decisions for you and set you up for a future you're not a match with, you may accidentally, in a haze of self-recovery, make promises you can't keep, right? Honestly, truly strive for perfection in areas where you can't even get close because some part of you really doesn't even want to. And all this requires is just trying your hardest, and being your best self. So, you know, then, and I think that's, you just want to, like I said, this shift is just going to naturally happen where you just want to. You've got 1 2 1 2, got 12 12 and 1 1. And 11, 2 12s. These numbers may be significant to you, maybe relevant during any of these changes. Let me see. Coming into your close social circle, I see the energy of well, certainly affecting your close social circle. I see a humble teacher. Some of you are subscribing to your family or friends' dogma. About what's acceptable in maybe your personal spirituality specifically, yeah, but also maybe just what's acceptable in your character, in your life, in you, again. But others of you, if that's not the case, if you don't feel that type of pressure, there, or even at the same time, you know, there's also this humble teacher in the Hierophant we see as well. Maybe that's the person that you can open up to. Are these different truths that you're trying on that you're not sure if you want to own or not, are they restricting or are they freeing? Visit each one like that. Ask that question about it. You're going to need to have the courage to stand up for your truth. You're going to have find the courage to guard your truth. what you know to be true, what you feel to be true. There's so much power in you knowing what your truth is, what's worth guarding to you. Again, we're talking about your very integrity. And I think some of you are so lost in your head, so lost in your thoughts, so caught up in overthinking that you really need to just create an opportunity for you to be happy. Even if you're not ready to share, not ready to talk. Some of you are afraid you may say too much, and it may be a self-fulfilling prophecy, because if you stay bottled up too long, then you may just sort of unload on somebody at some point, you see. And you're not even in touch enough with your feelings to realize that that's coming, even though it seems elementary, right? Because you're so in your head, and that happens when we get out of our body and out of our emotions or our heart and into our head. And yeah, in the meantime, there's so many messages from different people rushing in. Do this, do that, you're this, you're that. It's like this, it's like that. You need this, you need that. You literally just need to release in some way. So if you can't release by getting this truth out and of how you're feeling, of the sense of being lost, overwhelmed, still healing, knowing you need to and want to think and decide for yourself, but you're just struggling with how to at this point, when you're feeling weak, maybe, etc. If you can't release by actually talking to somebody about it, if there's no one that you feel that you can, if you're just not ready, then you need to release in some way. So that's what I'm talking about. Create an opportunity for you to just be happy, where you don't have to be anybody. It doesn't matter what your truth or your path is or what you decide, but you don't need to be or be with anybody. You just are jumping on a trampoline, or you just are reading your favorite novel from cover to cover and not answering the phone until it's done. You just are playing hooky for a day and taking a drive. Well, when you're lost in your thoughts like that, I don't know if driving is the best, but you know what I'm saying. Maybe it clears your mind, whatever just lets you be happy. Even that will be a release that you really need. And some of you, I have to say before I let you go, are you're buckling because when all of these truths, and they are choices, right? They are choices. They are potential paths. They are choices. When all of these truths and these messages of different truths and paths begin to overwhelm you, you initially try to smile at it. Wow, look, I'm just realizing all these choices. And you just kind of, some of you, not all of you, you sort of crack because you're framing it in a way that it makes it pressure free and even fun. And you are overwhelmed, though. You are confused and overwhelmed and almost burdened by the pressure of some of these other energies, opinions. And you're just masking it, right, in a sense. So, and that's where the breaking down or the kind of cracking comes in, because you're fooling yourself. If that's for you, just a word to the wise. you just need to, you really just need a moment where you connect with enjoying yourself, where you connect with yourself through enjoying yourself. And if you speak to someone else who sees you from the outside, it can happen that way. If you find a moment or a way, a day where you can just, like I said, create an opportunity to be happy and free that doesn't require you to be anyone, you'll find yourself enjoying yourself. It needs to happen. Shifting into this integrity in your outer world looks absolutely gorgeous, group 6. I mean, it's just you're overwhelmed within, but you're so determined. That determination gets you to where it's manifesting in your physical world, that you're just showing your truth in your actions out loud and in your actions to everyone. You become completely unafraid. It's for some of you, it's like what happens is you're so afraid to do the wrong thing, to misstep, to maybe to make the wrong choice that leads to this kind of pain again that you've been healing from. And you just, get a moment where you get to step outside of yourself and you realize you've done yourself the greatest disservice already by allowing this energy to own your heart. Where you can't even just let yourself just relax as what you truly want, because you're so concerned with what you need to be, what the right thing to be is. And the right thing to be is you. The right path to walk is the one that you want to. And some of you need to be careful, again, just real quick, this is not everybody, but some of you need to be careful that you don't end up being the type of charmer who just hurt you. Because if you're wearing a mask and you're just trying to be ready for like a commitment, a relationship that you're not really ready for, if you get talked into it, persuaded into it, any way, shape, or form, again, not for everybody, but if you find yourself trying to rush this healing at all, what if while you're just trying to put a mask on and just trying to smile and just trying to be present, even though your mind's going crazy, or is definitely distracted at the very least, right, is worrying, you accidentally become this smooth talking charmer just because you're like on autopilot and you're just trying to get well and live your life and just be ready, and you're not, honest about the fact that you can't be totally present, you can't be get really invested, and you end up doing something similar to someone else, and completely unconsciously and completely with no malintent, but it could happen. Stranger things have happened. This is coming through. It's not for all of you, but okay. I think we've delved as deeply as we can right here, right now. There's something here too coming through about humans being paradoxical by nature. Which is part of your feeling, some of you, part of that feeling of just not even being able to understand yourself, your actions, your wants, your desires, your truth again. But like I said, I think we've gone as deeply into it as we can right now, right here today. If you need a further clarification on anything, or just want a reading with me, check out the description below. There's a list of services, description of services, there's links, my email address. So I'd be happy to work with you. I can't wait to work with you, or work with you again. Thank you so much, all of you, for liking, subscribing, and letting me know how the reading resonated. If it did, I'd love to hear. If you care to share. Thank you for all other contributions to Lunatics Tarot as well. Welcome, Lunatics, and take care. I do hope that you will all make wise choices for yourselves and not feel boxed in by anything that's laid out on the path that you're on now. You can always change that, and also not feel boxed in by what anyone else wants to choose for you. Okay, take care.